Hey there, gang. This is Peter Palmiotti of Art Studios, and sometimes things don't go as planned. Vic King should be here. Hopefully, he sees the link and comes on in. Meanwhile, I'll chit chat, and I'm going to be working on something. I'll show you that in a second. But if you didn't know, so this is a piece I did for Retro. My friend Gaz Gretzky penciled it, and I inked it, and this is going to be the back cover image. But I do have this for sale. So for $60. Hello, Ice Queen. I don't know where Vic is, but I'm sure he'll come here soon. Oh, and we have Hex Allen. Yo. And Ice Queen. Hey. And Isaac, the web comic creator. Welcome, one and all. So yeah, let me do my little spiel, then we'll see what's what. But yeah, so this is a piece from my book. This is going to be the back cover image. Really like the way this came out, and I did notice I forgot to connect the line, but selling this for $60 if anybody's interested. And working on this, I was working on this earlier in an earlier stream, and I'm going to finish this tomorrow. And this is $30, $10 shipping. Mostly it's cheaper because, it's not a collaboration. It's my own art, and I'm trying to do a bunch more of my own art and to sell. So I'll be finishing this off. And today, while we wait for Vic King, I'll be working on this. And what is this? This is a designated trading card. I'm not actually sure if this is the trading card size. I mean, actual size. I just printed it out, and it came out this size. This is DB Smallwood penciled this, and I'm inking it. I believe this is Alex, one of the characters from Designated, the Mark Torres created miniseries. So everybody's saying hello. And we also have Charles Reeves. Welcome. So if for some reason Vic doesn't show, then we'll do another stream some other time. I really want to get him on and talk about his book and talk about his art. And Isaac says, how are you doing today? I'm doing good. Busy on so many levels. I will mention tomorrow I might have two different people on. It depends. We'll see how it goes. But one of which is Brian, otherwise known as Dojo Kun Comix, and we'll be talking about his book, Projectile Reptile, which is crowdfunding right now, and we'll see if we can get a few more eyes on it. But yeah, this is a disappointment that Vic isn't here yet. But, stuff happens, life happens. Maybe he fell asleep. He sounded like he's had a busy time of late working on his book and working all crazy hours, as well as streaming and whatnot. So if you didn't know, You know, this is me. I printed out the pencils to this. And for whatever reason, I think it's that my blue ink jammed up in my printer, and doesn't currently work. But red works fine. This printed out a little more pinkish. And I'll have to look at the actual pencils for a little reference. I tried to clean it up a bit. Still got a sort of pencil smudge over there, but that's okay. But it looks like I'm going to have quite a few guests next week. I'm probably not streaming this weekend, although one never knows. But it's not on my schedule as of yet. But if for some reason Vic doesn't make it today, but he can make it over the weekend, then I'll be happy to do that. But I'll be having Rex on tomorrow, although we don't have a set time as of yet. But Brian Dojo Kun will be here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm not sure if I'm going to stream working on the Aquaman piece. I'll probably just work on it and get it done and post it up and around. You know, I'll really be looking into posting all the things I have for sale. I even have some comics, some Hawk of New York, some Tragedy. What else? I have the 100s Anthology Book 2. I have some copies of that, which I penciled and inked and wrote a short story in that. Anything else? Nothing's come to mind, but one never knows. And with the comics I have that I'll be selling, I'm going to offer up a $10 sketch. So if you want to buy a comic and also get a sketch, it'll be the price of the comic, price of shipping, and just an additional $10. And I'll do a drawing of either like a character from the comic or just any character. If you want retro, or if you just want, you know, Batman or Supergirl or, you know, Pinocchio, whoever. I've been getting an itch to what's that alien creature that from that Disney movie? Lilo and Stitch? Is it Stitch? It's a great character design on that character. I gotta watch that movie again. It was fun. Goofy. It was goofy, but the animation was fantastic. So yeah, you know, I'll be streaming a while just in case Vic shows up. Stitch. Yeah, Stitch is the alien. Yep. Thank you for confirming. Yeah, it's a fun character. Yeah, so I'll be streaming at least an hour now. More if Vic shows up. And like I said, you know, if he doesn't, then I'll definitely make sure to get him on at some point. Want to bend his ear, chat with him about artwork and his project. And I do have the link below if anybody is interested in checking that out. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, this is DB Smallwood illustration. Wasn't a rush, so I didn't already finish it. You know, it was a crowdfunder that we had that didn't fund, but since New York Comic Con is this weekend and Mark is in New York, he's going to talk to some publishers, see if we can get picked up. If not, we will attempt to crowdfund it again. You know, no timeline as of right now, but we'll get it figured out and we'll let everybody know. So I said it before and I'll say it again. I really like, I call him Brian. Yeah, that's what the B is known for. I really like Brian's pencils and his, as well as his ideas for characters and stories. It's very 90s approach. He was heavily influenced by Rob Liefeld and Image and lots of crazy comics. And we talked about doing a book together, you know, besides the Wildcat anthology, which is funded and should be near completion. As far as he is putting it together, and once it's together, I'm going to send the file out to the printer, get it printed, approved, and all that, and then send it out to all the people that pledged to the project. That should be soon. He's kind of disappeared for a little bit, but he was working on it consistently every day. So now I think it's just a waiting game, much like with everybody's project. Waiting for the printer is the longest part. Hey, it's Gary Hodges. Hello, welcome. Oh, let's see. Coincidentally, people are almost always comparing my art style to 90s anime. Oh, awesome. I'll have to go check you out. So do you stream or upload videos on YouTube, I'm assuming? And what's the name of your strip if people wanted to Google search it? You could drop it down in the chat. Let us know. Gary has a fantastic book, which I've yet to read because I suck. But the art is freaking fantastic, and I've heard only great things. Something about Martians and aliens and 50s and I don't know, a whole bunch of craziness. Whole bunch of craziness, I hear. Yeah, that's so. Earlier, I was talking about habits and a bunch of things and how I have to force myself to read. Although I'm currently trying to get back into novel reading and get this Stephen King book I've had for too long, trying to finish it. If you message me, I can give you a discount on the books. Awesome. I will. When I'm rich, currently I have to pay some bills off, but so Isaac says, not yet. I'm not very tech savvy, but my top priority is creating a webcomic. Awesome. Well, even if you just post images online, on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you are, you're here on YouTube, so you're tech savvy enough. Like, not all of us are super geniuses when it comes to doing all this stuff. We learn by making mistakes. All I definitely learn by making mistakes most of the time. You know, I'm the generation before computers came around, and I had to self-teach myself all this stuff. Gary, drop the name of your book, because like everything, my mind blanks. I think it's DS something. You know what it is. Fantastic work Gary does. And Gary streams because, unlike us, he is super tech savvy. And what is it? It's Thursday, so what do we got? We got our casters tonight. Scott Circlin, Joshua Kimball, maybe Corey will be there, maybe other people. I forget who was tonight's guest. But that's at midnight. Forget if it's Scott Circlin's channel or Joshua's channel, flips back and forth, or Corey's channel sometimes. Then later this evening, past midnight, I got Jeff Lafferty and Gib doing Jeff's Rcast, the original Rcast. No, the original Rcast I ever heard of was what's his name? I'm going to blank on his name. Chris Oatley. He's always an entertaining podcaster and super talent. So Charles says, how can we describe to people in the chat when you click an icon and comes a report or a block? Yeah, well, you have to sort of copy paste their name to the YouTube search, and you can find people that way. If people have a common name like Gary Hodges, it might be harder to find his channel. Yeah, it used to be set up where you can click on their name in chat and it says go to their channel. But YouTube got rid of that. I don't know why. It was a great feature. But I'm sure Isaac, the webcomic creator, will definitely come up. So I don't know what happened with Vic, but I will definitely get him on some other time. Hey, Amanda B, welcome. And she says, I think you still can, but only as a mod. Yeah, that's lame. You know, and it's like all these sites making constant updates, and sometimes all the good features they had disappear. What up with that? Donut, welcome. Man, you're making me hungry, Donut. So yeah, this piece is Brian Smallwood, aka DB Smallwood. I did Wildcat anthology with him. Wildcat is his character creation, not to be confused with the Wildcats, which is Jim Lee. And it's just an anthology with his character in it, with 6 different independent creative teams. Inked one story. It was a lot of fun. And it's mostly done, if not totally done at this point. And off to the printer, hopefully. So we got Ice Queen and Donut and Amanda B and Isaac and Gary and Charles and Hex Allen. I gotta get you in the stream, Hex, if you're still here watching. And Amanda, I think you might have showed up in one of my streams, but I gotta get you on my channel. You're a sweet personality, a YouTuber. I figure I gotta go to Florida, and I'm not sure if I'll be streaming once I'm in Florida. I'll be there for 2 months for family stuff, and that will be the end of November into the new year. If Hex is still working, hello, Hex. Hex Allen, otherwise known as Mel. But he has no preference. He's like, whatever you wish to call me. It's when I was younger, I had so many nicknames. I mean, still people call me by different nicknames. One was Psycho Pete the Psychopath. My jokey friends came up with that. Because I am a bit of a psycho in a good, friendly way. I don't know if it's because I'm the only one talking, but I hear my computer. I may need to let it rest more. Oh, wait, here we go. Jesus. It's Vic.
I've only been back there for 27 minutes. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You've been waiting for 27 minutes?
No, I've been waiting for my internet to I had to restart the router because it just wouldn't go. And then trying to get it to sign on, it was just, I don't know, a pain.
You made it.
But I made it. I'm finally here. I'm so sorry.
No problem. It happens. It's going good. Let me just go through the chat, and then we'll touch
sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Amanda B says, I'm just a fan, Peter. I ain't selling anything. I just like talking about CG books, etc. Well, that would be fun just to have a fan on, and definitely somebody who appreciates quality. And Isaac says, personally, I'm not that sweet. In fact, I'm a little bit spoiled, like KOZOR from Disney's The Emperor's New Groove. No. Well, none of us are perfect, so. Anyway, yeah, so Vic, glad you made it.
Well, I don't know. No, what was the question?
It wasn't a question. I'm just saying hello.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, how's it going? You're inking. What are you inking?
So this is a trading card. I'm not sure like what size trading cards are done. Probably a little smaller. But I just printed it out, and this is the size it showed up, and I'm fine with it. So this is something for a book called Designated, which I'm the inker on. It's a mini-series, 500 mini-series that my friend Mark Torres created and wrote, and I'm the inker on it. And we did a campaign. It didn't fund, but one of the things we thought about towards the end of the campaign is like we had 2 trading cards up on the campaign page, and we were like, we should do more trading cards, like not just have technically one that was associated with the campaign. It was like, so I told him I'll do a trading card, and I'll get some of my friends to do some, and so we're gonna have 5 total with the 5 different main characters, and this is one of the main characters, and yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you want to share your campaign, is your computer strong enough to handle sharing out your thing? Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. And so people can go check out your book and check out your artwork in the process.
Just waiting for it to refresh.
Yeah, no problem. All right, here we go. And click on that. Let's see.
Should I play the trailer?
Yeah, sure.
Right, cool.
We will march into the night. Let the fear sink in their eyes. We will roar our battle cries. The oath we shall carry strong. Rally up the swords and shields. Fight into the bloodiest fields. For the honor high decree. The heavens is on our side. We will march into the night. Let the fear sink in their eyes. We will roar our battle cries. shall carry strong.
Yeah, we got the question in the chat. Who composed that music?
All right. Well, I got the permission. The front end and the back end of the music, the singing, is from a piece called Battle Cries by Peyton Parrish, who's a independent metal artist on YouTube. And the link for his YouTube is at the very bottom of the campaign, all the way down here.
Excellent.
He was very kind and let me use the... right there it is.
Yeah, it's a good song. I like it.
Yeah, he's great. He's got another song that I wanted to use called Valhalla Calling, but that song is actually now getting used in Assassin's Creed 2. So this guy's extremely talented. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So we are, let's see, we are 69% funded. We have raised $3,450 of our $5,000 fixed goal. We have 50 backers. We got 21 days left to get that. Was it $1,550 to make it? To make it. So I think we're going to do it. We're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So this is the pitch to the book is it's a 60 pages of magazine-sized metal action to fulfill a prophecy of blood. One man sets himself against Lovecraftian horrors and the savage perils of this barbaric world. Join BEOWAR as he faces the sea demon Cathal and its half-human mutant brood. Now, that's the sea demon Cathal right there on the cover. That big giant. Yeah, it's awesome. I love that bad boy right there. He dies too quick though. Spoiler. Otherwise, it would be called Cathal instead of the Brood of Cathal. The Brood of Cathal are the main bad guys in the book, and what they are is they're this land has created this. Over the centuries, have created their army out of having select daughters of their land breed with Cathal, the sea demon. So they have these half-human mutant brood that make up their army. And so when they find out that Cathal has been slain by BEOWAR, there's 1,000 of them that set themselves against BEOWAR. So he has got to fight his way through 1,000 of those brood.
Right. Yeah, I'll get closer on the images so people can see it better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice work.
I'm not sure how I can do that. Let me see if I can do it with my screen here. Like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Margot's here. Hi, Peter.
Hey, Margot.
Chat.
Oh, that's Cathal in all his glory.
That's awesome. How long did it take you to design something like that? Like the character?
Well, the whole concept till now, it started roughly a year ago. Just trying to banter around with my chat, like, okay, I want to make a book. And so we got a whole bunch of things in place during October of last year, which is basically when I started my channel. And so the chat helped me put together different story elements. And then I had some projects I was working on at that time. So it took me a while to get back to BEOWAR and actually, get things grounded and set up to the point where I've got it now and I could get it launched. So, I mean, the whole process just to get where I'm at from thinking of the idea to getting a campaign out took just under a year. Yeah.
That's really good. It takes some people a lot longer, for sure.
And then we have a backup story in here for our next book coming from Vicious Inc. Comics, called Alizon the Bloodletter, and she's a female barbarian set in the same world as BEOWAR.
Nice.
And this is the blood crone possessed Alizon. Alizon, her village. She sees her whole entire village get slaughtered. Her village worshipped this blood goddess called the Blood Crone, and the blood goddess would once a month possess women in the village. It was part of the whole ritual of worship. Well, with everybody gone, there's only one person left to possess, and that's Alizon. So Alizon gets the blood crone whenever the blood crone wants. A woman is in need of vengeance, possessed by the one goddess that can reap it. And then I just let people know that they can watch me draw this on a daily basis on my YouTube channel. And there's my YouTube channel. Once we hit our funding goal, every backer gets a 10x13 poster of the cover art by myself and the amazing colors of our Busco comics.
Awesome.
And then we do have our first stretch goal in there, which is at 7K. Everyone gets this Alizon and Nox trading card by the incredible talent John Dillard. That's a beautiful piece right there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Very nice. Let me see. Let's see. Let's get back up to the tiers. So the tiers, we have a featured tier, which is our all-in tier. It's called the tier of Cathal, and that's got right now. It's got you get one signed copy of the book. You get both of the tapestries that we have on the campaign. You get 2 8.5 by 11 original sketches, a BEOWAR logo patch, and all the trading cards that will be made with the campaign. That's what we have on there so far. That might grow depending on how well we do.
Right.
How much more stuff I can add to the campaign. That's $150, and that's a really great way to help boost the campaign, people.
Yeah.
And that gets you everything that comes with the campaign, essentially. Then you get the basic tier, which is it's a $25 buy-in, but it's a 60-page magazine size comic. It's not a small size comic. So you're definitely getting
magazine size is what, like 9 by 12 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit off from 9 by 12. It's like 9 by 11 point something or other. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's I wanted to do it that way because I wanted it to be reminiscent of Savage Sword or Conan.
Right.
The magazine. Yeah. And
I love Savage Sword.
Oh yeah, because I remember thinking when I used to read it, I'd be like, "Oh, this is so much better than the small comics because look how much more impactful Conan is. He's bigger and it's just cooler.
Yeah,
really
fun way. Really get into the art, when it's printed bigger and
all the fantastic backgrounds and stuff. Like the fantasy world.
Oh yeah.
And then all the monsters, you get to see the monsters much closer up and everything. Then we have our blacklight tapestry. These are the tapestries I was talking about. They are 24 by 36 inches, so 2 foot by 3 foot wall tapestries. And this one, the cover one is in black light because the colors work for it.
Right.
And that's $50. We got 3 of those claimed. Then we have a pit fight silk print tapestry. This is there's art for an exclusive trading card that the early signups got.
Right.
And so right now the only other way to get that art is like this as a tapestry. And it's a beautiful pit fighting scene with see if I can move the art down here to show you.
Yeah. Isaac says, I'm guessing the epic poem of Beowulf was one of your inspirations. Would that
Yeah. I mean, every epic story really was. So I kind of narrow it down. I just tell people that because the basis of it that a lot of people would understand is that BEOWAR is a combination of Conan and Sinbad. You know, every
Right.
type of adventuring hero, you know, that I grew up reading. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely BEOWAR in there. I mean, Beowulf in there. There's what was his name? The Indian Gilgamesh.
Oh, okay. Right. I was going to say Pocahontas.
No. True India, not
Right.
not Italian found India. We have the BEOWAR book, 2-book tier. That's just like if you want to get 2 copies at once, you can get 2 copies at once.
Nice.
Then we have our sketch tier. We've got a bunch of these claimed. We've got 9 of these claimed. And this is a great way because you get your copies signed this way. With any of the original art tiers, you get a signed copy of the book. This is $75. You get an 8.5 by 11 original sketch, which I don't just do just like random sketches. I do full out rendered sketches. I'm trying to find one here. I can't find it. I'll show you afterwards.
Okay.
We've got original interior page art. We got 2 out of 59 claimed for $175. You also get a signed copy of the book. We have a very fun tier called Get Drawn Into the Book for $200. We've got 2 of those claimed so far.
Nice. Doing really
and
good.
You get a signed copy of the book. Yeah, you could get drawn in as one of BEOWAR's like sailor friends or pit fighting friends, or you could get drawn in if you're a lady. You could get drawn in as one of the barmaids, one of the bar wenches, or a Mur assassin, which is a female mutant brood of Cathal.
Nice.
Or if you're a guy, you wanted to get drawn in as one of these mutated monsters, half human, half sea demon. Absolutely, you can get drawn in like that. And you get a signed copy of the book with that tier. We sold the cover art, so that was very good.
Ah, awesome.
Stop sharing.
If anybody has any questions in the chat, by all means. But yeah, have you done comics for other people, and this is your first book, or what's your deal? Is what I'm asking.
Oh, all right. So I have had. I'm relatively new to the game. I've only had 2 books that I've drawn for other people that are like fulfilled.
Okay.
So I did a book with Nasser Rabadi called Asile, which was a was a critically challenged book because we were doing a art concept type story based off from this lost film called The Death of Dracula, this lost silent film. And so Nasser wanted to make this story about what that movie might have been about. And so we did this whole comic book that was based on slight of illusion and German expressionism.
Okay.
And I use German expressionist block printing, wood block printing, as part of the inspiration. And yeah, it was met with mixed reviews. German expressionism doesn't translate to comics very well, but it was worth it. It was a fun project. It funded and it got out there, so that was really good. And then last year I did a book for Dark Gift Comics. He's publishing it, but it's Liz Skokil's book, Iron Liz, and that's fulfilling right now. That's almost done fulfilling. That's called Lightbringer.
Right.
And I'm actually in the middle of drawing the setup pages for the second campaign for that. So,
sweet.
Yeah. So I'm new. I'm a newbie, but BEOWAR is my own very own project, written and drawn by me. With the exception of the backup story is going to be written by Ali Sanguis, who is a new writer in the comic sphere, but she's incredibly talented. So very happy to have her on board.
So you might not have done a lot of work, but you know I recognize those names and recognize those creators that you're working with, and that's, you know, it's like nothing to sneeze at. Like, you know, like you got good work and you got a good work ethic from what I've seen. You know, you may be new, but you know you're starting off on the right foot.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I might be new, but I'm very determined. I mean, this is my shot. You know what I'm saying? Like I got back into art. I left art for a long time in my life, and I got back into it, and I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do it, I got to do it now. Right. And I got to give it my all.
Yeah. Most definitely. You know, you kind of can't do comics without taking risks of some sort.
So this is the type of sketch that you'll get on the campaign.
There you go.
Yeah, you're not going to get just like a quick head sketch. You know, you're going to get a character in action, and nice. I'm going to ink it. Unless I feel the pencils are really tight and nice, I'm going to ink it. So
cool.
And this is something.
I may have made let me just read his thing. I may have made a few mistakes while creating a webcomic too. He says, I'm a newbie too. And Charles says, smash that thumbs up. That's right. If you haven't already, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You know, normally this show is packed. There's lots of people watching it for one of my episodes. So I definitely appreciate that, and go on my channel later and watch my other videos. I need more watched hours. So
yeah, everybody, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like and the notifications. Definitely
notification. Hit that bell. So you were saying, sorry.
No. I apologize. This is going to be a variant cover that I'm going to announce very shortly in the next day or so. I was going to try and get it colored right away, but I'm just going to put up the black and white line art. This is called the Ale and Tail variant, and it's BEOWAR walking down the street with a couple
Near naked women.
dancing girls. Yeah. And he's drinking his wineskin, and he's about to get jumped by some mean looking dudes.
Yeah, nice.
So I will be adding the Ale and Tail variant cover in the next day or two.
Very cool.
So I've done campaigns with other people,
right?
And I thought I knew like exactly how everything should work, and I did. Like, I learned a lot from doing campaigns with other people. But man, doing a campaign by yourself is a much different experience. It really is.
Yeah. You take stuff for granted because I've been a part of other people's campaigns, but you just don't know until you do your own.
Yeah, like you have a team of people to promote a book, when you're working with other people. But when you're by yourself, it's just you and whoever's following you. You know what I'm saying? And that's I mean, God bless the people that follow you, because they do a lot of work for you. You never even realize how much work they do for you, but they do.
Yeah, I mean, for those that don't understand, like people's careers are built off of their audience. like Ryan Reynolds is doing great. Like he's a multimillionaire, if not a billionaire at this point. But he's only really famous because everybody's been following his work throughout his career, and talking about him, and going to see every movie and blah blah blah. It's like, and that's the same for comic book artists and writers. It's like you like somebody's work, make sure to go and pick up their books, not only what they got out currently, but pick up their past stuff too. Pick up prints, pick up sketches, whatever. Like, really, every dollar helps towards having better structure for us. So I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about overhead. I could just focus on the work itself and make that 8 times better. If I'm not panicking about, feeding my cats or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like Isaac says, I'm mostly just working by myself right now. It's like, a lot of us are. I mean, we're all just freelancers. Some of us are just working alone, like writing and drawing and creating our own books. Some of us are working with teams, whether we're a team of somebody else's book or we have people on our team working on, our own books or whatever. And it's, it's a lot of work. It's, the great thing is, like, we have total say in everything, as opposed to like trying to make a Hollywood movie or something. Charles says, smash that thumbs up. Yes,
we can pick exactly what the actors look like. They're on demand whenever we can make them, which is making ourselves, right?
Right.
You're totally right on that point. Yeah. And there is a ton of work in putting these these books together. I mean, maybe more work than you ever expected, but it's the payoff's so good at the end when a book is printed and the consumer has gotten their books, and you know they're no longer just consumers or prospecting backers. They're now fans. You know, that's a huge payoff right there. You know.
Yeah. You know, like you were saying earlier, like you were streaming earlier, and you were saying like there is no night and day anymore. It's just you work when you work. You work when you're up.
Exactly.
And that's your schedule of late, and I totally understand that. Like, it's wise to like take time off and even take a couple of days off every once in a while. Like, I know you know with a campaign going, you're less likely, but because I know what that's like. I was always checking my campaign. I was always, you know, chatting with people. I was always, you know, hustling. But you know, you can find balance in it, and you can, you know, not run yourself into the ground.
Right. Yeah, I maybe like when when I fund, I might take a day off, you know, just to decompress from the stress of the 60 days of campaigning. But
yeah,
until the point I get funded, I gotta keep my foot on the pedal, you know. I gotta go give it all the gas I got.
So in your area where you live, is there any places you've been, like comic stores or malls? I don't even know, whatever is maybe in your neighborhood, like that you've talked about your book and promoted it, like outside of just like internet, like because you can cover everything online, but I'm always curious if people do stuff offline, like maybe go to your local TV station or local radio and try to get up there and promote, you know, stuff like that.
No, I haven't. There's two comic book stores that I go to, but they're out of town. There's not one near me. I'm in Boston. Right. So there's not one directly in Boston where I live.
Right.
So I either have to go further into Boston, or I have the two that I'm familiar with from the area that I grew up in the suburbs just north of Boston, and I will go to those when I can. I like those. Harrison's Comix, and anybody from New England knows Harrison's Comix. He used to have several locations. He used to be in malls and stuff. It was great. But his main store is in Salem, I think. His main store is Salem, Mass. And I'll go to that one. And there's one in Beverly, and I'm not even sure if it's open anymore. It's been so long since I've been to that one. But it was, I went to art college in Beverly called Montserrat. And I went there for fine art painting for a couple of years. And there was this comic. It was the smallest comic book store I'd ever seen because it was just so thin. It was just this tiny cigar-shaped store, right? And you walk in, but he'd have everything. Like it was piled to the ceiling with everything, and he had long boxes. I don't know how he managed it all, but that was my comic store when I was in college, and I love that place. It's just so cool.
That's the best. Like, you know, I went to art and design, and that was in Manhattan in New York. and there was a store north of the school. What was it? Comic Book Art Gallery, I think it was called. And it was like the second floor walk up. You walk up there, and it's like from the ground to the ceiling, to from the front of the store to the back of the store. I mean, it was jam packed with stuff. It was like the aisles were really thin, and the ceiling was really high, and a lot of the wall space was full of original artwork, which was unusual for a comic book store. And it was just a great store. And, one of the few times in the comic store that I saw original comic book art. And it was just a great place to go, and really close to the school. So I'll never forget it,
Yeah, man. The ambiance,
Yeah, it's like the smell of pulp is strong. Lorenzo, welcome.
Hey, Lorenzo. I used to love that too. I mean, I still love it, but I don't get as much chance to go and spend hours in a comic book store like I used to.
Yeah, I mean, in the small town in Kentucky I'm at, we had a comic store for about a year before it folded. It's like, it's not really necessary in this town. There are some comic stores in Louisville, which is a little over an hour away, and other places. But so, I just tend to shop online, which is pretty much, I shop through crowdfunders.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the hot scene right now. I mean, I'm not trying to tout my horn or any other indie creator's horn, but the independent indie market, especially like the crowdfunding, that's the hot spot of comics right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, just going and checking out all these crazy campaigns, and what I find in this particular iteration of the indie scene is what's always been there for indies. Indies always had like crazy ideas and stuff that wouldn't fly in the mainstream, right?
Right.
But they right now, all the imagination is in indie comics. There's no imagination in the mainstream books anymore. All the fantastic monsters and fantastic creatures and new fascinating heroes, they're all in the indie comics right now.
Yeah.
And you can find anything from any genre, from like old school pulp fiction type stuff to cape heroes to cyberpunk, to even manga style books. It's just everything.
Yep.
And of course you got your barbarian books like mine, like BEOWAR. Trying to bring a modern edge to an old joy.
Oh, definitely. Like, what sort of books did you first come across? Where did your interest lie, like, as a fan?
So they say there's always two type of comic book collectors, right, or readers, right? There's the ones that are hyper focused on the stories, then there's the ones that are hyper focused on the art. I was one of the ones hyper focused on the art. So I would say I followed. It sounds very cliche, but for the era that I was in, I followed Mark Silvestri and Jim Lee, John Byrne, George Perez. One of my favorite runs of all time was Walter Simonson.
Nice.
And so these are the artists that influenced me. Will Sportatio. Oh God, I love Will Sportatio.
Pistachio, I call him.
Yeah.
All great artists, all phenomenal careers. Definitely. You know, what Walt Simonson, was that Thor? Was that some other?
The Thor, his Thor run was my favorite, but you know, as I got older, I was able to start looking for different stuff by these artists that I loved, and looking into some of their older stuff, and that's where I found other artists that have influenced me since then. But the main ones, like Walter Simonson, was Thor. That's how I got into Walter Simonson. But then I started looking back into stuff like he did issues of Star Wars. He did Battlestar Galactica. He did a series for DC called Manhunter.
Yeah.
Which was not Martian Manhunter. It was a different type of story. But oh my God, the character design for that was awesome.
There you go. This is a hardcover.
Oh, you got it.
It's Manhunter Deluxe Edition. It's like just reprinted, bigger than the comic format. So it's all the old stuff. I never read this. You know, I've seen it and love his work and appreciate it. But I never actually picked up issues of Manhunter or read it. And you know, it's definitely going to feel dated the way it reads, but I'm really interested in reading this. You know, for me, it's always, I get a greater appreciation of somebody's artwork after reading their comic. You know, it's like I could look at the art forever and it's like appreciate it on a certain level, but having read stories and then looking back at the artwork, it's like, oh, I see why they did certain things, or, you know, really traveled the eye in certain directions, left clues throughout the story, you know, whatever the case may be. But it's just beautiful work. It's like, you know, Walt's really good. I would say Walt Simonson did the very first good movie adaptation, which I don't know if you've seen it, but he did Alien, the original Alien movie.
Oh, he did
And no. I thought that was the first decent one ever. Like, before that, it was just like they got any artist and any writer and just slapped it together just to tie in with the movie for some easy cash, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Walter really took it to a new level. So yeah, if you're a fan of his work, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, and I agree with what you were saying about actually reading the story, because the artist will give certain clues to why they're artists, or you can make that determination why they're doing what they're doing through their storytelling. Like, they give it away. The artist gives it away.
Yeah.
You know. And that's where a lot of the joy is too, is inside the, I mean, the covers are beautiful, but inside the pages, if they hook you with the cover, but if they can keep you with the inside, man, then you know it's a winner. You know?
Yeah, which is why I love it when, you know, the artist of the book actually does the cover, or at least one of the covers in today's standards. You know, it's like with all these alternate covers.
Rarely happens these days, right?
Well, you know, it's like I'm not really following what the major publishers are doing, so I'm not really keeping track lately. But I assume that, you know, like when I do see stuff, it is like all these other artists that they have doing covers. It's like it's almost like the comic is still drawn and like traditionally, like I'm not saying techniques in how they drew it are traditional. I'm saying like it looks like a traditional comic on the interior, but all the cover work is like all this mishmash of like 80 pounds of coloring over, maybe some of it's painted, maybe some of it's digital. It's like all using all these techniques, and it looks completely different than these.
Yeah.
Which it's like if you want to do a wide bunch of styles over a bunch of different alternate covers, sure, but at least have one that looks like the interior art as well.
Exactly. I agree.
I have a bunch of rants in my pocket, so I take them out when I want to. Let's see. Isaac says, I sometimes get my art style compared to things like Astro Boy or Captain Hairlock.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, those are good stuff. Yeah. Astro Boy, Captain Hairlock.
The Captain Harlock manga was insane. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on which era. I mean, are you talking about like OG Captain Harlock? That shit was on fire.
I just finished watching what is it? The Cowboy Bebop. The animated show and the movie. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
And I do have a one of the projects I'm working on, and maybe I'll get it done next year. It looks like is a sort of manga inspired comic. It's by my friend Alita Martinez, and she's a phenomenal artist, and and she's very influenced by manga, and her style in the book shows it. She was actually the one that did I don't know if it's a Black Wonder Woman for DC Comics. Like she drew that. She has a really phenomenal art style.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a Black Wonder Woman or a Spanish Wonder Woman.
The Amazon Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
She was. Well, I don't want to say the Amazon one, but I mean that's literally what it was. Like she was from the Amazon in South America.
Yeah.
But the art was I never read the book, so I don't know about the story, but I remember seeing the art. The art was on point. That was beautiful.
I should grab something. Hey, let me see. Oh wait.
That's one of the things that DC has done better than Marvel over the last several years is it like DC seems to still invest in some like really nice artists.
Yeah.
Seems to have given up except for cover. They'll invest everything in the cover and
yeah, hey, like nothing is ever 100% bad and nothing is ever 100% good.
No.
They do good things every once in a while. I'm just not keeping track or care. If they want to hire me, by all means, I'll work for them. But it's not, I gave up, I worked for Marvel and DC combined for 7 years. And after, once it hit the year 2000, I was like, not trying anymore. And it's like friends and even complete strangers will always come up to me and go, aren't you trying to get work from Marvel and DC? You know, because I worked for them previously. It's like, nah, not really. You know, it's great and it's a guaranteed paycheck. Like, you know you'll get paid. You'll know the book will be published, or at the very least, you'll get paid.
Right.
And it will be quality printing, and you know, like there's certain things you can rely on when you're published by them, but you know, I also know that like whatever I do for them will be forgotten in a year. You know, it's like they'll move on. The storyline will change completely. The character will change completely. You know, that's why like I'm all for independent comics, and you know, in a way, we're creating our legacy. You know, like we're putting down the roots of something that we want to spend our blood, sweat, and tears on, and really do good work. And you know,
yeah, I mean that's one of the things. Like Ethan Van Sciver says is like was his decision when he made his decision to leave DC,
right?
Because he was gonna have DC publish Cyberfrog. There were plans for that in the works, but it was, you know, it always got put aside for obviously for like Green Lantern and stuff like that. But yeah, he was going to at some point just have them do like DC did with Wildcats, you know. And, some of the wild characters.
Oh my god, I looked at that stuff and it's like, it's like maybe one of those books looks okay, but I can't believe how just, you know, you're DC and I don't know, it just looks lame.
And I can't believe that. And I'm not trying to trash on the artists. It was just a poor choice for that type of a book, right?
Right.
There's certain artists that just don't match certain types of books.
Yeah.
And they definitely chose the wrong artist. And I couldn't believe when I saw that artwork for that. I was like, Jim Lee he's like the co-publisher, and this is these are his babies. What is he thinking? What is he doing? You know, why?
Well,
why would you want to put on like? Why would you want to pay a little extra money and dust off Travis Charest and bring him back for a run? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, he's probably cost too much, but you know, I mean, like from Jim Lee's perspective, it's like, well, they're publishing his characters in books, so he's probably making some decent money out of that. Like, what does he care? You know, if people remember his books and his work on it, then I'm sure they're reprinting that stuff up at DC too, right? I assume.
Yeah.
So they'll pick up those books, you know. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. It's like it's a business deal, and I don't think you'll ever get that same, you know, love and real, you know, just love that went into the books when it was part of Image, as opposed to, you know, it being part of a bigger corporate company.
Sometimes it surprises me how like some creators can be seemingly so passionately detached from these amazing things they've created, and others are like totally obsessed. Like Todd McFarlane, he's still madly in love with Spawn, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like where Eric Larson has taken Savage Dragon, but nobody loves their character more than Eric Larson, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, give me Eric Larson back in the day, like when his art was better, and like he wrote better stories. I picked up the first 50 issues, just like exploring, like and loved it back then.
Right.
And I've seen what it is today, and the art's not as good, and the story is definitely not as good. But good for him to keep it going.
Yeah. Those stories are downright way too bizarre for me now. And I don't mind a bizarre story, but he took it some places that just never dreamt Savage Dragon would go.
Isaac says, I don't blame Tom McLaughlin. Why would you blame him at all? Spawn is a badass character. And Lorenzo says, one reason I don't get too concerned about politically correct reboots of classic franchises, there are bound to be other reboots that cancel the previous reboot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly it.
I agree with that, with a lot of things. But I think there's certain books where it gets harder to do when you make some of that canon and say like a title like the X-Men. It becomes a lot harder to steer correct that title. It's much easier with like a singular character like say Batman or Superman. Much easier to course correct on books like that. But
yeah, I mean, like back in the day when they pretty much gave Frank Miller Daredevil, and he took it over and really created his own vision of the character, it became something because they allowed him to play with it. He took a villain Kingpin who was a joke and made him into something incredible.
Yeah, one of the greatest, most recognized bad guys in comics. Yeah.
And it's like I know Marvel and DC are scared of making artists and writers superstars, but that's the only way you get that real juicy content and books and stories and artwork
and rabid fan bases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everybody wants rock stars in their in whatever their hobby is, right?
Yeah. I worked at Valiant when it was when the industry was doing really, really well for the short period it did, and that was when they were doing the bus tours. I wasn't a part of it. I was just taking backgrounds up there or whatever. But it, like it seemed like once a week they would pick a couple of the artists. Okay, Sean Chen, Jim Calferi, and Bernard Chang. You guys come with me, and that would be Bob Layton, and it'd be like, okay, we got a bus tour, and it would be like a band bus that they would drive around and go from signing to signing and be treated like rock stars that they were, like because they were busting their ass and doing really good work. And Valiant those books were hot. They they may have been laughed at by some. They may have been, oh, they're not as flashy as Image books or whatever, but they were, the numbers they were pulling in were great.
And Valiant fans were they were rabid fans over the books that they loved,
oh yeah,
Ninjak was one of them, right?
Ninjak was one of them.
Yep.
Solar, the Man of the Atom,
Bloodshot,
Exo Manowar. Yeah, Bloodshot, the Harbingers, all great stuff. Whatever Joe St. Pierre was working on. Yeah, Dr. Mirage. Yeah, a bunch of great characters, great potential. Shadow Man. Like just good characters, and they were telling good stories, and like their artists were good, not as flashy. I mean, Valiant at that point had a certain approach. It's like, we don't want to do 2-page spreads. We don't want to do computer coloring. Like they were.
Yeah, I was going to say their coloring scheme was different than what everybody else was doing in comics.
Yeah, and eventually they changed and updated, but for a while they were unique and different.
But I mean, if you talk to any Exo Man of War fan, they're like ride or die. They love Exo Man of War.
Yeah, and it was good stuff. I'm not sure how the newest company is doing, or if it still exists at this point in time. I don't even know. I know they did a Bloodshot movie, and it wasn't exactly the comic book version, at least the comic book version I knew. But I thought it was a fun movie. I don't know if it did them any good or hurt them in the end, but
it was a fun movie. I know. Like there was a lot of people who kind of gave it some shit and stuff because it wasn't super fantastic. But I mean, it was a decent movie. You know? I think people were just more like Vin Diesel didn't fit the character, and that's one thing that comic book fans, they're going to be like, if you don't cast it right, they're definitely going to let you know, or the way that they want it cast, they're definitely going to let you know. But yeah, I don't know how Valiant's doing. Their ship's being steered by Heather Antos, so at least it was being steered. I don't know if it still is. I think it still is, but hopefully she doesn't run that company into the ground.
Is that one of those YA authors who became editor-in-chief or something or another?
She was
because I don't really know her.
Heather Antos was part of the start of the big controversy between the mainstream industry and Comicsgate.
Okay.
She famously had a ongoing feud with Zach Meyer.
Oh, okay.
Richard C. Meyer, your boy Zach.
Yeah, my boy.
And that was a brutal, bloody back and forth.
Yeah.
But we call her Milkshake 1 in Comicsgate because she was infamously Zach had made fun of this picture of that Heather Antos took with all the junior editors, which eventually kicked out all the old editors at Marvel. And they were all these women who knew absolutely nothing about comics,
Yeah.
And obviously cared nothing about continuity or canon or anything.
Yeah, and, I mean, that's where Marvel and DC fell. They tossed continuity out the window. That's my opinion.
And they would make a big deal about they were celebrating women in comics, but they never gave true credit to like the women that have always been in comics, like Ann Nocenti and
Marie Severin,
Louise Simonson.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, right? So
yeah.
My God, if half the artists could draw as good as Marie Severance in there, you know, like
yeah,
she was amazing. She was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, like I'm a fan of ElfQuest, Wendy Penny. She's incredible. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's plenty of women who've always been in comics and don't always get credited, but yeah, we always got to fight for attention.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, okay, so every comic book writer, every comic book artist has to fight for relevance, right? That's part and parcel of what we have to do. You know, we have to make sure our art is out there and that people know it's done by us.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah, I think it's because it's like, you know, we're this is where it's obvious we're a small industry. Like, you know, it's hard enough to get people that are fans of comics to know who we are, let alone the rest of the world. But
right. Trying to bring in new people is no easy task.
Yeah.
You know what I've noticed with and all of it's, you know, obviously a campaign like mine that's not even funded and we're under 5K. But even if we fund, we're still at like a 5K level campaign, which is nothing. That's tiny, very, very, very small. You know, you're talking like maybe hopefully a 100 print run. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
I've noticed on even my small level that we are starting to bring in new people, like people that have never even read comic books before, you know?
Never pledged to a campaign.
Yeah. I got 2 people that backed the drawing tier, right? Which those are a couple of the biggest tier. I think that's the biggest tier on my campaign, $200, right?
Right. Why do you think that is? Just because, like, maybe the mythology of the character is similar to something they appreciate, or
it could be.
They like naked chicks. What is it?
Yeah, I'm racking my brain because I don't like. I've been Comixgate from the rip, so I've been on the Comixgate scene for like 4 years, and I pretty much recognize almost everybody, you know, fans and consumers, and every now and then there'll be somebody I don't recognize, but like, there's somebody I don't even know, so it's really cool, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
I got one person who follows my channel. He's a bit of a wild character. He comes on my panels late at night, but he's a fun guy. His name is Amateur Ant, and he kind of got into everything with the culture war, you know, and that's how he found Comixgate. But he's never read comics before, and he hangs out at my channel, and he comes on my panel. He's, you know, he buys artwork from me. He backs my projects. It's fantastic. We definitely are bringing in people that have never been even interested in comics before, or had left comic books a long time ago. We're bringing them back. So
that's awesome.
Pretty fantastic.
So is there anything we haven't discussed about your book, your campaign, your place in life?
No, if anybody has any questions in the chat, I'd be more than willing to answer.
I will say, like, you know, I've mentioned, like, I really like your artwork. If you ever wanted me to ink a piece of yours for your campaign, I'd be happy to.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'd be totally honored. Hell yeah.
I think I'll
because
start mesh.
that one of the things I had to do over the last, because I got into comic skate like just as a fan. I just found comics on Twitter and found Comic Skate, and so I just, like, you know, hadn't drawn in years, and so I just started doing fan arts, and then from doing fan arts for people, then I started getting people asking me for commissions. And then from doing commissions, I got a couple of people asking me to do books. And then from there, I decided I was like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to try and chase my dream. This was always my dream. So let's try and make it happen. But one of the things I had to do was teach myself how to ink. And I'm not like an accomplished inker, but I'm learning bit by bit by everybody that I follow, and I've gotten much better than I was a couple of years ago. But because I started out with just like not understanding how to do line weights and
right.
Spotting blacks I'm still working on, you know,
right.
how to do them and how to make them make sense.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, like, of all the artists, like, you named a whole bunch of artists and whatnot. I mean, there's definitely, like, there's realistic. I'm not even saying, like, you know, like, it doesn't look. I'm not saying art that looks like a photo. I'm just saying, like, there's realistic ways to, like, shade your character and stuff, but there's also comic ways to shade your character. Like, you know, like you mentioned Todd McFarlane, like, you know, obviously, like, his anatomy wouldn't work on an actual human being, but it looks great in a comic. And, you know, so, like, there's things you adapt, artistically speaking, that look better than what would be really the case. So there's the comic book art that's, you know, just inspired to be exactly that, comic book art. And shading is definitely part of that. Like, you know, it's like I'm trying to work more on my art now. Like, as an inker, I could slick anything up and make it look good, but if it's wrong fundamentally in the foundation, then it's not going to hold up as good. But,
right.
But, you know, you learning inking, it's just like anything. Like, doing it over time, you will get better. And keeping at it and keep learning from everyone. You know, it's like, people ask me, who inspires you? Everybody freaking inspires me. You know, the great artists, the sucky artists, everybody in between, you know, because we can learn from everyone.
You're 100% correct on that.
Yeah.
And I'll be totally honored to have you ink something. I got to think of something really cool to have you ink. That would be cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Don't do this for everybody. So don't 100 people message me. It's like,
what could we make it? We could make it a trading card or a poster.
Poster, you know, it's like, let's do the piece, and then you can decide. Well, that kind of sucks. I'll do a trading card. Really small, so nobody sees it. But
no, I want to give you something wild. To do. I mean, I'll try not to tax you too much.
make it one of the blacklight specials. That would be fun.
Oh yeah, that would be.
You know, with my character Retro, you know, it's like I want to do something in velvet at one point. You know, it's like I want to do some crazy coloring on a piece, and you know, like go all nostalgia with it.
It's funny. Like I've seen a couple campaigns, even started it with a blacklight poster.
Yeah,
and people really, I think it's just basically a lot of the generation that's buying these crowdfunding books are you know, people like in their 40s to 60s, right?
right.
And so they grew up with blacklight stuff, you know, so they love it, you know.
But it's also like, yes, it's of a bygone era, but I think there's like, just because it's not done now doesn't mean that everybody wouldn't pick it up too. You know, it's like I love a lot of the, you know, like all the advertisements of old had a real charm to them. You know,
Yeah,
that's lost in today's world. Like everything, like most things are more business approached, and there's no fun to it. You know, like everything from the 40s and 50s is like, try one, get one free. Like, you know, like, I don't know, they all had catchphrases and themes and all kinds of ridiculous things that are fun, you know, that we don't see.
yeah.
as much
Even
now.
like the ads from the 80s were all
Yeah,
just
goofy,
crazy fun, you know. We're definitely losing that as a society, you know.
Yeah.
I think as a global society, everything has to have, like, who wants to even watch the commercials during the Super Bowl anymore? Yet millions and millions and millions of people across the world just turned into the Super Bowl just for the commercials, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to do that with friends. Like, you know, more than likely, you know, me and my friends watch the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not really a big sports guy, but if I have people there explaining what the hell's going on, I usually have a fun time. But definitely, I was there for the commercials because they were always fun. You know.
Yeah, the commercials and the halftime shows, you know.
And you know, a lot of it now, it's like, oh, we'll just stick a celebrity in there, and that will be enough. You know, they'll recognize the face. We don't have to be creative. You know,
we'll push a social agenda that has absolutely nothing to do with the products.
there you go.
That always sells everything. Like,
of course.
I wanna go out and buy Ritz crackers after watching a man put on lipstick. I don't care if the man puts on lipstick or not. I have no concern about that, and they can do whatever they want. But
yeah,
it doesn't make me want to go out and buy Ritz crackers. Like, I don't suddenly feel hungry.
Now those vanilla flavored. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
You know, you're trying to buy Count Chocula, and they're got some ad about solar power. You know, it's like the two things don't mix. You know, like know your audience.
Yeah,
you want to sell food, speak to the hungry. You know.
Yeah. Now, you know, I mean, there are like still fun commercials out there. I mean, I really don't watch regular TV, so I'm not seeing commercials for the most part.
Well, that's true too. I don't watch a lot of regular TV either.
Yeah, but I have seen some fun commercials. Like, you know, insurance companies sometimes have fun stuff. Like with that, is the green lizard thing. whatever company that is, I forget.
Geico, the Gecko,
Gecko. Yeah, Gecko. Then there's some new. I think they make men's underwear, maybe women's underwear too. I forget the name of the company, but the commercials are pretty hysterical. It's just, they're blatantly being more obvious than any underwear company previously.
Yeah, I love the guy that does. He pretends to be, or he's supposed to be the personification of mayhem.
Right. Oh yeah.
Those are so funny. Those are hysterical.
Yeah, the actor, I don't know what his name is, but he was on Seinfeld. He's been in other things. He's a good actor, but like those commercials are, yeah, exactly, amazing, like pretty hysterical. Those are pretty funny. But I think I'm starting to get hungry again. I didn't have enough lunch. I think I'm going to call it a show. I put your link for your campaign down below. If anybody in the chat hasn't already, go check it out. It's worth a look. And if it's something you like, then pledge to it, or at the very least, share it around. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're on track to be funded. You got a good looking book. Once we do a piece together, then that will sell 1,000 more people, I'm sure. If I do say so.
That's awesome. I can't. I'm so stoked and grateful for that offer, man. I'm so stoked and grateful that you had me on your show today, man.
Oh, my pleasure, man. And we'll do this again. I'm sure at some point, but yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
Calling it a day. But this has been a lot of fun. It's had a highly active chat. It's a little calmer down now, but thank you everybody
real easy
for watching and liking and subscribing, and I have a Patreon page if you want to support me more. Currently trying to sell a lot of artwork and whatnot. I got that Dale Keown piece I inked for Joe Sonntag. I still got that available if anybody's interested. That, and I got a Nicholas Geer cover I inked for him. The two pieces I thought that would fly off my shelf are still sitting on my shelf. There's a phenomenal cover of Relentless Tin Soldier and Phantom Shadow by Alan Goldman, who's a phenomenal penciler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those two pieces are like excellent. And maybe it not inking over people's pencils is sometimes a factor. I know for some people it is, but not for everybody. And you could always, I'll give you a high res scan of it. You can print that out and post it in a frame, like side by side, to see what it looks like without the red in the picture. But yeah, the two pieces I thought would fly off are still sitting on my shelf. But I know holidays are coming up and family and whatnot. But if you're interested, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, most likely. And yeah, I got a whole bunch of guests, as well as your buddy Rex. We haven't worked out a daytime, but more than likely tomorrow. I got Brian, otherwise known as what is it, Dojo Kun Comix. He'll be on tomorrow at 3, and he's got an active campaign. that is soon going to be wrapping up, and want to make sure he gets funded. Yeah,
Projectile Reptile. Yep.
Projectile Reptile. That's right.
What a fun title, right?
Yeah, you know, like he's got so much ingredients in that book. I'm surprised it didn't fund quicker, but you know, timing sometimes is a factor, or reach of certain people.
Exposure is huge.
Yeah, he's such a good guy. You know, like he deserved to get his book funded so he can get it out there. So yeah, be busy tomorrow as well, and yeah, I got lots of stuff I'm working on and trying to accomplish. And you with your book, it's looking really, really good.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me on, brother. I really appreciate it.
Do you want to tell people where you are online? I know you're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter at Vic King Arts. I'm also on Instagram at Vic King Arts, though my Instagram I'm not so active on. I haven't really figured out Instagram so well.
You could post directly from your PC to Instagram. You know that, right?
Oh, I can? You can do that now? I thought
Yeah, it used to be the only way, but I was cheating it for a very long time. I found the backdoor to be able to do it, but now it's available to everybody who has PCs that they can just post. You know.
Oh, yeah. I'll start posting a ton of stuff now. Then
there you go. It's worth being on there. It's a great kind of site. It's more flooded with videos now, but it's still where I see most of the art I see online.
Right. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely start posting up there. I can also be found on my own YouTube channel, Vicious Ink Comics, YouTube, and
you do crazy long
streams. I'm drawing every day. I'm drawing.
That's insane, man. Yeah. I think you did a 5-hour stream the other day. You're good, man. You're good.
Oh, I do like 10 to 14-hour streams. I'm a little crazy.
That's cool, man. That's great.
But I'm determined to make make a name, you know. So
yeah, go for it. Hey,
yeah,
it's the only way.
Absolutely. Sweet. And you said that people can find those pieces of art that you were talking about on your Patreon.
Well, I mean, people can further support me in actual dollars on my Patreon.
Okay.
I haven't really kept up with posting there. I do here and there, but I will be making a webcomic there just as soon as I get a cut on top of a couple other things.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I have a story idea called Nice Monster. That will be sort of a like monster of the week. Well, my monster will face off against another monster each week, or something like that. I'll do a page at a time, or however my schedule works out. But at least it'll be something I'm developing specifically for my Patreon audience first. You know. So yeah, I'll be getting into that as soon as I can.
Dude, that's awesome.
But yeah, thanks again for everybody watching. Thanks again for Vic coming on, even if he was a little delayed.
Yeah, my apologies.
Technology. It's happened to me too, so no worries. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the show.